Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Chad Harberts Show. I'm John Gunderson, and I've got a fun guest. We find coaches, players, former stars from the state of Iowa, and try and catch up on where they are now. So we have one of those guests today, and I have on the podcast Blair Brooks. Welcome, Blair.
Hey, thanks for having me on, JD. It's been a long time coming.
Yep. Blair, let's start from the beginning. Let's just talk about your journey to where you are now.
Yeah, for sure. I guess we'll start with, I was a baseball guy growing up. Brother was a big baseball guy. Basketball just wasn't for me. Wasn't that good at it. So never got fully into it. That was the one thing I probably should have been good at with my family history, but I guess it skipped over me and I got a couple other things. But played Metro Youth football in Cedar Rapids growing up. I remember a bunch of my friends were doing it, so I joined that, and that's where I started to like football a little bit. And then went to Franklin Middle School, and that's where I started to fall in love with sports, and that's where I actually ended up joining the track team. There was about, I think, 8 of us on the Franklin Middle School Thunderbolt track team, and I ended up just joining the team, and a couple of my buddies, we did all the relays, we did all the events, and that's where didn't think anything of it. Just had fun with it. Ended up winning like city championships and the hurdles and high jump. And that's when in high school started to shift more to football. So when I went to Marion High School, shifted to football, started to figuring out. I remember a summer camp going into freshman year. I got called up to sophomore football team by Tony Perkins. That was cool. I'm like, okay, maybe I can make something of this. And had a good year there. And good freshman track season. I think this one I ended up starting to realize that track and field could really be for me. I think I jumped 5'8" my first meet and high jump. And then I progressed next few meets. It was like 6 foot, 6'2", and I ended up going 6'4" and 6'5". And that's how I ended up being one of the top high jumpers in the state at the time. Made Drake relays as a freshman. I was only a freshman in the field. And yeah, from there, I'm like, okay, maybe I can do something with this track. And then we didn't have the best football season my sophomore year, but learned a lot. I played varsity as a sophomore, playing against some really good schools, really good competitions. So that going into my junior year, I was just kind of ready to go. Ended up having a good sophomore year track season. Ended up having a few injuries and sicknesses, but I had a good year. Went into my junior year. I had a really good football season. Really good track season my junior year. This is when I started to get like college looks. A lot of FCS, in-state, FBS schools. Yeah, really good track year. Ended up winning state in long jump, high jump, third and 110-meter hurdles. And then we ended up winning state as a team, which we didn't even think was possible. Because we had some great athletes, but we had some guys who was their first year doing track and field. So that was kind of cool. And then we ended up making state in baseball my junior summer with Coach Fish, and that's probably one of the coolest high school memories I have, was like getting to go to state with knowing how much it meant to Coach Fish, and his son Baylor was on the team. We just had a really good group and just had a really good year, and that was really fun getting to play at Principal Park. Very cool.
What'd you decide? You were getting recruited on a track basis, on a football basis. What was your college journey?
Yes, getting recruited, I wanted to play football. I knew I wanted to play football. In an ideal world, I wanted to do both. So this is when, like, Iowa started to come at me with, okay, we're going to do the kind of tag team. Then they're like, okay, we want you to do both. Now that shifts when you get like on campus, it shifts a little bit, as we know. But yes, Iowa wanted me to do both. Western Illinois was a school where I was almost going to go there, but they had a really good coaching staff. They just weren't winning. And I remember them being really upfront with me saying, hey, we might have some coaching changes, just to let you know. So that kind of shifted my focus to Iowa, where I walked on, which kind of bet on myself. But yeah, just getting recruited, I thought some baseball schools came in there my junior and senior year, but didn't really think anything about those. Track, I was getting recruited as like a multi, so decathlon. Just, it's a stressful process, especially with multiple sports. and a lot of things to think about, which is a good problem. But I remember just kind of wanting to be done with it. And yeah, ended up choosing Iowa. I was going to do football and track.
So Iowa, for those of you on the podcast, you might know Blair's grandfather, the legendary Bob Brooks, the voice of the Hawkeyes for, 57 years. And your father, Rob, who is currently the broadcaster for the women's basketball team, and he does sideline at the Hawkeye games. Did that play any effect in going to Iowa? You got your grandpa, you got your dad. Hey, I'm going to go down the street to Iowa.
Oh yeah, 100%. That was the big reason I chose it. And I can say that, but it doesn't really get much better than Kirk Ferentz, the way he leads the program, and just wanted to be part of that. I thought it was an easy decision at the time. It was a dream come true. Always wanted to be a Hawkeye. My grandpa Bob made a jersey when I was a little kid, and it had Brooks on the back, so it was really cool to get the actual jersey of being on the Iowa football team and getting the real Brooks on the back.
Yeah. So you got to Iowa, but then your journey took you in a different direction.
It did, yeah. It was more common now, but wasn't as common back in 2018. But I will say, running out of the tunnel at Kinnick, hard to beat. While warming up pregame and looking over on the sideline, seeing my dad, really cool moments that I'll cherish forever. I learned so much from the University of Iowa. When like reality hit, I had some talks with the coaches there, and they made a reality. We had a really good receiver room at the time, and they basically said, "Hey man, as a matter, you're gonna have to wait a little bit." And I was like, I was a walk-on. I was like, okay, I was like, I can work, earn a scholarship, but you and I came in late in my senior year, but Coach Farley came in a little later, my recruiting process, and I ended up transferring to the University of Northern Iowa, playing football. And that, to this day, is the best decision I've ever made. Being a part of the Panther family, you and I, best decision I've ever made.
So you go to UNI playing football. How'd you get back into track?
Yeah, so played football 2019, tore my shoulder my first fall there in practice. I was just practicing. I'm like, okay, I'll get it done after the season. I should be fine. Tried to rehab it, just didn't get better. Tore my labrum. Ended up having surgery January 2020 on my shoulder. And COVID hit. A lot of different stuff was changing. We didn't go back to campus till June. But I ended up having a really good summer because they basically said football, you at the time you can do whatever you want. Because as of now, we're going to play in the fall. So we were helmets, shoulder pads in July, which is very odd. But I was ready to go. I was having a really good summer, like they call it OTAs. I was having a really good OTA period. We had a really good team. I was getting a lot of reps. We had Spencer Brown, who is now on protects Josh Allen. We had Trevor Pendon, who was a first-round pick. Jared Brinkman, who's tearing up the CFL right now. We had Ellerson Smith, who played for the Browns, hopped around a few teams. Really good quarterback. We had Isaiah Weston. He had a stint with the Browns. So we had a lot of NFL guys on this team going into that fall. And ended up, we showed up first day of camp. First day of camp, showed up in August, and they said, we had a meeting. This isn't going to go good. So they called us into a meeting with the AD. And they said, hey, Missouri Valley's like opting out of the fall. So with everyone else, pretty much. But no one has really announced it. But he's like, hey, we're probably not playing. And then they basically asked our team, like, what do you guys want to do? Do you guys want to do this camp, figure it out, and maybe not play? Or do this camp and then we end up playing maybe like one or two non-conference games, like trying to find any games? Because at the time, they were basically – at the time now, like NDSU was trying to play, I think they played one game that fall. They were trying to find anyone. And our seniors and our leadership council eventually decided that we're going to just wait and try to play a full season in the spring. So very weird times. We just did a month of OTAs. So now we're coming back and doing another month of helmets only in the fall, in the mornings. And then we're going to do winter breaks. So we're going to lift, do all that stuff. So spring ball's in the fall. Had a really good spring ball in the fall, getting a lot of reps again, doing some really good things, feeling really confident. And then winter break happens. We had an inter-squad scrimmage in the fall, and I did really well. So, a spring game, had some good catches, a touchdown. First time I felt really confident going into a season. Was ready to go. Winter break, winter camp happened. First week of winter camp, first day of pads. We're doing some drill. We're hitting every day. This is you and I. We're hitting every day. We're physical, 3-hour practices. I love it. And I felt my shoulder go out. And I was like, They tried not to think anything of it and just kept getting worse and worse in that January. And eventually just couldn't get on the field. Just shoulder issues, kept dealing with it every day. It was really hard. Eventually had another surgery. We didn't have a great year that year. We had a lot of injuries, and it was a weird year, and we just didn't thrive like we should have, which was disappointing, but it is what it is. But had surgery and just decided what was happening next, talking with my doctor, and just eventually decided that, okay, let's take a medical hardship. I was going to take a medical hardship and just keep my scholarship and just be done. I was going to help out in the weight room at UNI, so GA.
Yep.
So I was going to help out as much as I can with teams. And then just talking, I was always close with Jeff Coover, who's the jumps coach at UNI. Basically, we decided, should we do this? Should I just join the track team? I have unfinished business, a bad taste in my mouth the way my college career ended, and just tried out for the UNI track team. I had to try out since I was on campus, and I was already a student, so I had to try out. But he said, if you do what you do, it won't be an issue. But yeah, ended up having a good year. UNI just figuring everything out, had no idea what was going on. If you ask Coach Coover, his plan probably the whole time was long jump, high jump, triple jump. I thought I was going to be a multi, like a decathlete, but I could not throw with my shoulder, we found out. Ended up just doing high jump, long jump, triple jump, and just having fun.
So then you're at UNI and you're on the track team, and your journey takes you just a little distance. You go to South Carolina and you become a Gamecock. Talk about that. How'd you become a Gamecock?
Weird. I will say sorry, Coach Coover, for this happening, but we always joke about this. I shouldn't have left UNI, but it was for a good reason. I was looking for like a 1-year master's program at that time. And then Chloe, my now wife, ended up getting a random phone call that got offered a GA job at South Carolina. Shortly after that, South Carolina reached out to me and asked if I wanted to come jump for him. And that's how it went. Got to Columbia, South Carolina, made some great memories, some great connections, but track-wise, I did not get better. I remember after SECs, I was in the top deck of LSU's track state. I remember calling Coach Coover, and I'm just like, I can't finish this way, man. Because I was still talking to him throughout the year. And that's when I decided I'm going to try this post-collegiate route of track and field. And ended up taking a job at Benedict College. I got offered a job there for assistant strength conditioning coach and assistant track and field coach. Benedict College, D2 HBCU. That place will always hold a special place in my heart. I was there for 2 years. But that first year post-collegiate, so after college of track, I was just going to any meet I could, just trying to get better, training hard. Ended up having a good end of the year. And then that next year is when I say I was officially a pro. So last year I started to actually make some money, had an agent, got to travel some really cool places. So that's when I say that kind of took that next step. And it just took off from there. It's really cool to look back on because I'm beating guys now that I watched YouTube videos of in high school and college trying to learn how to just trying to watch film. So it's cool to be right up there with those guys.
So you're knocking around in the top 10 in the U.S., right?
Yeah, have been for the past 2 years. Hopefully you can actually make that next step next year. Yeah, a lot of life stuff, but Coach Coover has always been with me. He's still training me to this day. And we've been doing some really good things, back-to-back PBs the past 2 meets, that in June and July. So we're doing some really good things. I'm really excited.
It's been fun to follow your journey.
Yeah.
Keep getting personal bests in that top 10.
Just building for next year, and then LA 28. We always say, just me and Coach Cooper, we just say keep going.
It's really interesting journey. Let's talk a little bit about where you are now. So newly married.
Yeah.
Now you're in Chicago. Chloe Brooks now is coaching with Morgan Page, Marion Great at Loyola in Chicago.
Yep.
And So you're working on your track seasons. Talk about a little bit where you are now and what your goals are for track going into next year.
Yeah. Last year we moved to Phoenix. I got to help out with Grand Canyon University track and field. Worked with Derek Hinch out there, who knows my coach, Coach Coover. So ended up working with them, getting some good experience. And yeah, we ended up moving to Chicago for some better opportunities. Coach Brooks. And been training, bouncing around this summer, finding some good tracks, making some connections. I got some good connections out here in Chicago for track and field. Basically, you just keep training and then on the next year. Seeing about some Europe meets this next month in August, but if not, we'll just keep training and get ready for next year.
So let's back up a little bit. Let's talk about your family, your Iowa connection. You're an Iowa guy, but you grew up in a very involved sports family. Your brother Peter works for the Iowa Cubs. Your family has always been involved with the Cedar Rapids Colonels. And so talk about a little bit about your family's involvement in sports in Iowa.
I don't even know where to begin with that one, JD. We always joke that when I was born, the first thing I went to was a Colonels game at the ballpark. We grew up going to Colonels games all the time. All the time. So went to every single Colonels game, watched every Iowa Hawkeye event, no matter what sport it was. My dad was doing all the radio. He was doing softball a lot when I was growing up, so I went to softball games. And yeah, just being very involved, going to any high school games in the area. And our funny thing was, so we were a Cedar Rapids, Washington family. So we went to a lot of those games, especially when they were really good at basketball. They had some really good football teams with Tony Lombardi as that coach. They had Alex Carr, David Tan, and those Keenan Davis days. I know I'm pretty high up on the Metro list, but I think I'm right behind them in the receptions and yards for the all-time Metro football list. The Lombardi offenses were air raids, so they just threw the ball the entire time. But going to those basketball games, like they had Wes Washman, Josh Oglesby, just really good. And I remember we'd go, like any regular person trying to watch the game, we'd park our car in the parking lot. Our family's walking up, and all of a sudden we'll say, "Oh, Bob's here, Grandpa." And we see his car just parked right up by the front door at Cedar Rapids, Washington. People just walking around it. Only one door now because one of them's blocked. So he would just pull right up onto that curb and just go right up to the door and park his car and just walk right in. And still don't know how this day, I don't know if you've been in the Wash gym, but their press area, you have to climb up a ladder. Still don't know to this day how he did it for 57 years or what it is, but he did.
He'd climb up in the press box.
Get up there somewhere because they just had to climb a ladder to get up there. But I remember just pulling up, and we know if he was there, if his car would be right out front, people waiting the lines around it, just right up front. Scott Unash was telling a funny story on his podcast a couple weeks ago where just parked his car. I forgot what hole it was on what Cedar Rapids golf course. Just parked his car right in that hole and just started to tee off. No cart path, just pulled his car right up to the tee box.
When you're covering high school sports and you're a legend like that, you can get away with that. That's awesome.
Pulling up to the door and they say, getting out
with that massive tape recorder and
hauling. Yep. Time to work.
Just think about how many high school games he must have covered in the state. It has to be an astronomical number.
Yeah. You got to interview my brother when he was at Springville. Came to a couple Springville Oriole games. My brother went to Springville his junior and senior years. He passed before I got to see that, or before he got to interview some of mine. I know that would have been really special, but I did get to do a couple track meets with the newly Bob Brooks press box at the Jackson Stires relays, and I ended up winning a couple titles at those meets. Those always meant a lot to me and my family.
That's a great Bob Brooks story. So between your grandpa and your dad, you're getting hauled to every event, like every moment, every day. So that kind of inspired you to go on your journey, going from football into track, and you're still in it.
Yep. Got a lot of good people in my corner. Yeah, support me. I could thank everyone, but a lot of great people in my corner support me. I wouldn't be able to do it without them because track's kind of an unforgiving game. It's not a lot of money in it. You got to really do it because you love it.
But you're continuing on in your coaching career. You're both on a coaching journey right now. We'll see where that leads you. It's your last stop, Chicago. You never know.
I'm sure wherever it is or whatever school, it'll be great.
So right now, Blair, we're kicking off this year, been a small way, but we hope it builds. We're kicking off the Bob Brooks Football Classic in the state with 3 or 4 big games on opening Friday night football. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Let's talk about that. Your grandfather covered high school sports when he was doing the Iowa Hawkeyes every week.
There's not many people out there like him that stay true to their roots. So he starts with high school sports covered in the area. And he ends up, I like to say, making it really big in the sport, in the field, which is hard to do. But then also, whether it's you're covering the Rose Bowl one weekend and then the next weekend you're covering like a Jefferson Kennedy basketball game. I think that's what's really cool is he always stayed true to his roots. And I get people saying all the time, oh, your grandpa interviewed me, or, oh, I listened to your grandpa growing up. And that's really cool to me. And when he was alive and we'd be walking around, like, especially when I was young, I didn't really understand it. I thought we called him Bop. I thought that was grandpa. We'd be walking around and we're always stopping. People are stopping us. I remember going home and I'm like, I hate going places with Bop because we can't get out of anywhere. I remember we used to get lunch with him, me and my brother. Went to this restaurant. We were there for almost 4 hours. Just getting people coming up to him talking. There's just like, we didn't like going places with him. And then we actually understood like what he does. And we didn't really think anything of it, just being the normal throughout our years. But then once we got older, we got to really start asking questions. Like, I remember asking him, like, oh, Bob, did you actually interview Jackie Robinson? And he got to tell me about that. He's like, yeah. And he told me the whole story. He actually told my Cedar Rapids Reds youth baseball team that whole story. I remember he was covering a game there one day. And my baseball team was there, just at an outing, team bonding. And then they're like, oh, Bob wants your team to come up. And just brought my team up to the press box. I led the way probably. Knew exactly where to go. And he sat us down and just started talking about when he interviewed Jackie Robinson. First person to ever interview Jackie Robinson. And then he had to hop the fence and destroy the tape recorder because it was really frowned upon at the time. But he is who he was. He's true to his roots. Just wanted to get the story. And just wanted to, whether it was a 1A high school game or talking with Hayden Fry or the Rose Bowl game, just wanted to get a good story out there. Just loved Iowa sports.
Yeah, he did love Iowa sports. He was working almost every day up until he passed. And your dad, Rob, is continuing that. He continues that high school approach. He has a show in Eastern Iowa where he's doing the same thing, covering the Hawkeyes, but also doing high school sports.
Yep.
And that continues on. What exactly is your dad covering right now?
He's doing it all. So he's the sideline reporter for Iowa football, play-by-play guy for Iowa women's basketball. And he does a lot of high school events for MediaCom, TV shows, Black and Gold Breakdown, Talk Sports on NC22. He just does it all. It's like sometimes I'll call my mom at night or something. Oh, where's Dad at? And he's doing some high school baseball game, sub-state game, could be a random football game. They try to do a football game a week back in the day. So he would always try to line up a couple Marion football games. Those are cool moments. But yeah, he's doing it all. He's covering all of those Iowa sports, Colonels games, Quad City River Bandits games. He had to work with the MediaCom, just doing what my grandpa did.
Let's talk to Colonels a little bit. I think that's a really interesting story because minor league baseball in Iowa, what was it, Blair, about 7-8 years ago when minor league baseball contracted? Clinton, Burlington, a lot of those teams that had been what I would call staples lost their affiliation. But the Colonels have managed to survive and thrive, and your family has been big on that. Your grandpa Bob was huge on it. I think your dad is the current president of the Cedar Rapids Colonels.
He is.
Talk about that time, because I think a lot of people don't realize how hard it was for Cedar Rapids to maintain that, and where are they taking the Colonels going forward, because they were able to survive it and then come out of it and they're thriving.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure my great-grandpa, Ira, so Bob's dad, kept the Cedar Rapids Baseball Club alive. I think it was during the World War II era. I might be wrong. But around that time, he was going door to door in Cedar Rapids trying to keep Cedar Rapids Baseball Club alive. But yeah, there's been a Brooks on the Colonel's board of directors for, I'm pretty sure, 100 years now. My great-grandpa was on it, president for a long time, kept Cedar Rapids Baseball Club alive, Ira Brooks. And yeah, Bob was on the board too. And then now my dad's the current president, and he has been the vice president. He's been involved for years.
A lot of improvements in the facility. You haven't been there.
Oh, yeah.
Survived a flood, right?
Couple. Cedar Rapids Colonels have been through it.
And then that's how Peter probably got involved with the game. Now he's with the Iowa Cubs.
Yeah, he's always around it. And he's my idol. His journey's way more complicated than mine. He lived in about at least 8 states for 8 years, bouncing around organizations, just trying to get experience and reps in the game. And he's currently director of media relations for Iowa Cubs. He's been there for a few years now. Yeah, just always being around the game. Doesn't make it feel like work.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. Colonels are a great place to watch a game. One of the few places left to watch minor league baseball in the state. I think keeping that going and now being in a position to thrive has been really interesting. And I know your family's worked hard on that. Think about it. The club probably has come close to, hey, this is it. We're out, right? And becoming
multiple times.
Yeah, to be multiple times and becoming a Northwood League's team. Now they're a Twins affiliate, which I think is great for them. Am I right on that? They are a Twins affiliate.
Yep,
right?
Twins used to be Angels growing up.
Yeah.
And we've seen a lot of players go through that organization.
Yeah. A lot of Mike Trout, you name it.
I remember Trout wasn't there too long, but Byron Buxton, that was always cool. You get to see guys on the other teams. So like I remember Carlos Correa got drafted when he was 18, playing for the River Bandits. I remember this is one of the perks you get when your family's involved. After games, you can just go and hang out in the away locker room, like right outside the door to the bus. I can go inside a little bit, navigate my way through the tunnels, and I can get guys' autographs like BJ Upton, Justin Upton. In my parents' basement, we have so many baseballs, whether it's baseballs, bats, where it's just signed by, whether it's teams or just individual players. We have so much stuff where I'll just go and get autographs or just take stuff that's left behind.
Yeah.
That was my favorite thing to do. But
yeah, that's really cool. Blair, interesting journey. You're continuing your track and field journey. Now you're in Chicago. You're both in the coaching world. Really a lot of fun to talk to you. Hey, in full disclosure, I know Blair very well. My niece Chloe is now his wife, and excited to follow you guys in Rambler basketball. I got to get some Rambler gear. I do have the South Carolina gear for you.
I hope it's a good year for the Gamecocks.
Yeah, I did too. Oh, hey, one thing, but I want to ask you about one interesting thing. You have one of the unique, what I call Iowa stories. So you're living in South Carolina. You're a Gamecock. Your now wife is on the women's basketball staff. Caitlin Clark is blowing up like crazy here in the state. Your dad is the voice of the women's basketball team. So he's super involved. You're going to the Final Four and your wife's there in the bench and your dad's doing the game for Caitlin Clark. 2 Final Fours in a row. Talk about that experience.
Very cool experience. So my dad's all business. Now my mom, huge Iowa fan. My aunts and uncles, huge Iowa fans. My dad's all business though. I remember when that bracket came out, I remember looking and I'm like, they're going to play each other. And not just early, like Final Four. First one did not go well. I remember Caitlin made 3 threes, and I don't know how in that short amount of time. And I'm like, I remember watching it. And I'm like, jeez. But yeah, just very cool. Just seeing my dad's baseline courtside doing the game, and we can talk to Chloe, who's been really a part of our family for years. And just being able to do that and see that, it's a very cool experience. Yeah, it was a good journey. And I can full disclosure say I was cheering for the Gamecocks, but I can say that for my now wife, I graduated from there, got my master's from there. But yeah, great game. It was a great rivalry those couple of years. Very good for my dad, business wise. Their listens and views for that Caitlin Clark era were through the roof. So I was really happy for him for that.
So first year didn't work out, losing the Final Four, and Iowa advances. Next year, the championship game comes. The Gamecocks prevail. Had to be really interesting because you had a whole year of holy smokes lost, right? All the way back. And that's the highest point women's college basketball has ever reached, that game. And to be part of it, I think, had to be amazing.
On both sides.
Yeah.
At our young ages and what she's accomplished and what my dad has worked so hard for to accomplish. Very cool experience. And wins, losses, rivalry aside, very cool. That's what I appreciate, just both of our families being involved in that. And the Rices know it's all business. My dad's doing the game, play-by-play, close code. It's how it goes. You're gonna have some of that. You're gonna have those crossroads. But it makes for some really cool conversations, and both of them being so successful leads to some cool things. I remember they played in a tournament in Charlotte. I was in it, sure enough, can drive up. My mom came out with my dad. We got to go hang out with them. South Carolina played in the game before. Iowa played in the game after. We got to go to both. I got to sit in the radio booth with my dad and my mom. So it's getting those experiences from that, not just the wins and losses, but both teams being so high level, getting to go to those same tournaments, being on that same tier for that short period of time was a really good experience. Chloe's got to see some amazing arenas. They went to Paris. My dad got to do games, whether it was the Spectrum Center or Barclays Arena, where my mom got to go to. It's all about that.
Season's coming fast. We'll hear your dad on the sidelines of the Hawkeye games, and he'll be doing fall games. We'll be following the Ramblers.
Oh, yeah.
You're in it big time now. The season never ends. So talk about track-wise, you're training all year. Talk a little bit about that cadence for our audience. What does that look like for an athlete? When are you trying to peak, Blair?
Yeah. So that word peak gets thrown out a lot. I know Cougar doesn't like using the word peak exactly, but this always just being ready. We always say, so fall training will be a lot of general prep. So just getting the body ready, get ready for the workload, a lot of heavy lifting. We lift heavy year round. So we're always lifting heavy. We do a lot of speed work. So we're always sprinting. And yeah, basically you have that from probably about August, September area to January. And that's when I'll start meets back up in January. Probably run a 60 in December. Just kind of see where I'm at speed wise. But yeah, from January then till July, you're in the ground running. A lot of the bulk of the meets are going to be from January to May. It's when we try to compete a lot. Tapers off a little bit. So mostly the big bulk of the professional season. So pro meets are going to be from May to July. So I have USA indoors in February, March. And then the big bulk of the outdoor pro season is going to be later in the summer. So a lot of college meets, I say. All the pros compete at college meets, like attached. So you can enter those and it's still really good comp. Some random college meets will have a lot of pros in there. And yeah, you can just go and just compete from there and just keep going.
That's great. So I'll ask, you're jumping about what's your long-term goals?
Long-term goals is just, I always say, just trying to reach my full potential, be the best I can be. So try to leave nothing out there. Not anytime soon I'm going to do this, but walking away from the competing and saying, okay, I left it all out there. I did the best I could and I did some great things. So I'm right up there right now. My best is 790, which is about 25.11 and 3/4 or 25.11 and a half. So I'm just right there with all the movement and life stuff happening. That's the next goal. Just try to be one of the best in the United States. And I'm right up there. And just try to break through that next ceiling next year.
It's been fun to watch. I've done a little research since I know long jumpers peak into that late 20s, early 30s,
Yeah,
right?
I got it. I got buddies who are 30, 32, and they're still going
Yeah.
and just getting better every year. My coach, Jeff Cooper, you got to have him on the podcast. You'd love it. I got the Panther Pole Vault Club.
All right.
There, but he competed at the highest level of pole vault for 13, 12 years, like high level. He still competes right now. Now the bars aren't as high as they used to be, but he's been a really big inspiration of just keeping going. And he struggled a little bit out of college, but eventually found his groove. So he's got to keep going. He's been a really big inspiration in my life, to me and Chloe, and his family is really involved with everything I do. So I'll go up to Cedar Falls, do training camps. I'll stay with them. I'll take care of the kids. I'll hang out with the kids that he has. And yeah, he's just always had my back from day one. I wouldn't be here where I am without him.
That's great. When you're continuing in your coaching career, I think that's always going to be a part of your life, coaching track and field at the college level. As you guys move from school to school, you'll put a lot of college stops on your resume, I think.
Oh, yeah. It's making connections everywhere you go. Competing in the sport at the high level, obviously people want you around, whether it's a D1 school, D2, D3, NAI, they want you around. They want you around those types of athletes. I remember at Grand Canyon University, I didn't really have a plan. I was just there. And I remember the head coach bringing me into his office and he's like, hey, I've seen you out here every day and it's 120 degrees outside. I want you around our team and kind of show them what it's like. So just keeping your head down, just keep working. It takes you places.
Yep. That's great. I think that's a wonderful story. So Blair, let me wrap up with a couple fun questions. So you're a Cedar Rapids guy.
Yep.
Okay.
Right through.
Run through Cedar Rapids-Marion. If I'm coming into town, okay, what is the one place you're going to take me out for a meal?
First day we're going, Edith Lucille's. Great spot. Real dive bar. Great drinks, great food. That's whenever I go into town, that's where I'm going. I'm serious. Every time I'm in Cedar Rapids, I'm telling my mom, dad, Sean, Danielle, I'm like, we got to go to Edith Lucille's. When we going?
That's awesome. So that's your place.
Obviously, the new Big Grove downtown Cedar Rapids is really cool. I'll give a shout out to Big Grove. I like the hole in the wall spots.
I think I remember you've probably been to the Starlight once or twice. I think that was your grandpa's spot.
I forgot about the Starlight. Getting the little boats of popcorn. Yeah, that was my grandpa's spot, though.
Any parting thoughts before we go?
No, I just appreciate everyone that's been on this journey with me. It's been a fun ride. I got to thank the Rices, the Gundersons, everyone that's been a part of my journey. I remember watching Sports Guy Iowa just become what it's become. I remember it was just a thought back in, it was just a thought. And, oh, maybe this would be cool. And now to see what you guys have developed over there has been really cool.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to work together on the Bob Brooks Football Classic. Kick that off in the fall. It's going to be cool. Hopefully that grows into the event that we hope it's going to be. Really, it's a celebration of Iowa high school sports.
Yeah, you guys have been killing it right now. Deep in the valley, you're having all the coaches on there. That's the spot to be. If you're a valley coach, you're not on it, you're falling behind.
Now we're going to get to them all. We've got them all scheduled. They're all coming up. We've got to get a Morgan Page on too from the head coach.
I got a list for you. You got to have some good people on.
She's got an incredible Iowa story.
Oh, yeah.
High school star, her coaching journey. Now she's a D1 coach. It's amazing to me since we started this, how incredible Iowa is, especially in women's basketball, where you're like, wow, Katie Abrahamson is the head coach of Georgia, and Iowa's coach, Drake's coach, UNI's coach. Shoot, I was talking to Valparaiso's coach. She's an Iowa girl. It's amazing how many Iowa. Brenda Freeze. I mean, she's probably one of the greatest women's coaches of all time.
They're everywhere. If you go to the football coaches list, you'll click on one, you'll see random guys from Iowa that they're head coaches of Power 5 schools and just killing it, whether they started at like Iowa Wesleyan or something like, whether they started there and then now Iowa is just because you're from Iowa. We produce some great elite level coaching athletes. I know it gets really underlooked, but we're putting people out there on top all the time.
Yeah, I think it's great. Great way to close. So, Blair, thank you so much, and have a great day in Chicago.
Appreciate it, JD. You're the man. Appreciate you, man.
See you.